American Union Jobs Program is universal basic income. And I know if you're used to hearing about things like the job guarantee or whatever, that you might make the wrong connection at first. But being a good American is work. Like, people do all sorts of things that they don't get paid for, volunteering with the PTA or Meals on Wheels or coaching Little League, or, even just the amount of content that people create for YouTube and the internet and Wikipedia and all these things. So an American Union Jobs Programs acknowledges that and says, yeah, be a good American, contribute to society around you. Here's $300 a week to help you, and then make sure that you can do it. So American Union Job, again, we spell out exactly how unconditional it is. That this payments may not be withheld for any reason, including but not limited to age, ancestry, arrest record, bankruptcy, criminal conviction, debt, or other liability, gender, geographic location, income, marital status, occupation, race, religion, or sexual orientation. Universal basic income is universal and unconditional. Basic wage starts at $15,600 a year, and then children's wage is 1/3 of that. Again, we reiterate the job duties of Americans, the 5 listed in the preamble of the Constitution. And then the second part of this section is a new section 1398B. This is the American Union Jobs Program. It is established within the Social Security Administration, and the responsibilities of the Deputy Commissioner are pretty basic, hiring, rules, regulations, agreements. Paragraph 4 is enrolling every citizen into the American Union Jobs Program. So again, every citizen, and getting basic information, name, contact information, date and place of birth, social security number, digital treasury account information, because that's how American Union jobs are paid. Frequency of payments, depending on your situation, weekly, monthly, quarterly, annually, maybe better or worse for you, or not. And then the American Union Jobs Program doesn't make you an employee. You're an independent contractor charged with making a better America, adding value in whatever way you see fit. It's entirely up to you. Subsection F, payments under this section. People ask, does this stack with other benefit programs? And so when it comes to Social Security and disability, it stacks. These payments are not considered substantial gainful activity that would otherwise disqualify you. They are not considered wages for the purpose of the Social Security program. And in addition, the Social Security Administration will also protect these payments from garnishment. Again, universal basic income is unconditional. Everyone gets it. And for appropriations, the Social Security Administration is a very efficient organization, has very low administrative costs. You're estimating that they're going to be about 1/4% of the annual cost. And so the obvious question is, 1/4% of what? What is the amount that we're going to spend on universal basic income? And we estimate that there's going to be 249 million adults and 71 million children enrolled in this program when it starts up. That means a little less than $4.25 trillion will be issued as Treasury dollar bills, equally to everyone. Half of that will then be clawed back through new taxes, the value-added tax and pollution fees, as well as a few other small cuts. And as we talked about with Treasury dollar bills, that's going to leave us with a net addition of about $2 trillion in the economy each year, added at the bottom, so that we have a real trickle-up economy that ends poverty and takes the pressure off the Federal Reserve to keep interest rates so low to encourage people to borrow money and add it to the economy. We're going to create it directly and give everyone an equal share. Those are because your American Union job is attached to you, you can move around the country wherever you want and know that wherever you stop, you're guaranteed $300 a week to help you meet your basic expenses. But yes.
C says, so I can work for extra dollars? And I think the short answer to that question is yes.
The short answer is yes. It's unconditional. And so it's a safety floor. You can use capitalism to build as high as you want from that floor.
The children's treasury account is given to them upon being born, U.S. citizen, correct?
Is assigned to them on birth, yes. No, the parents can't touch the children's account. It's the children's account. And so that's why the UBI payment goes to the parents. And at some point, as the child matures, 12 or whatever, they could get access to their account or something along those lines and be able to start spending it and using it however they want.
This only applies to American citizens. It does not apply to permanent residents or people of any other kind of citizenship status.
That's correct. It only applies to American citizens. The one exception to that would be if a child who is an American citizen, if they're one or both of their parents are non-citizens, residents, whatever, that parent would receive half of the children's dividend. Remember, in the Treasury dollar bills, we talked about these B2 accounts will be set up for parents of citizens who aren't citizens themselves. So that's the one exception. I want to say that universal basic income benefits everyone, even if it doesn't directly go to citizens. The benefits of living in a society that is addressing wealth inequality, that is reducing crime, that where there is more money circulating around the economy for immigrants are frequently entrepreneurs. They come here and want to start businesses, and so here's a way to encourage that by making sure the people around them have money to support their business. So even if it doesn't go to them directly, it will benefit them indirectly.
So how are you going to pay for it? That's the question.
As previous cycles have demonstrated, it's necessary to increase the money supply in the long run to maintain stable prices and maximize growth. This dividend is the result of the evolution of the U.S. economy, and Congress finds that the system-wide profit from the economy should be distributed among the owners, the citizens of the United States. Accordingly, the money supply should be expanded to include a digital legal tender known as Treasury dollar bills issued by the U.S. Treasury. So digital currencies, cryptocurrencies, things like that are in the news. Clearly, they are the future. At some point, we will have a digital currency. And so the question is really, what form should it take? For that, we also need to look at what is money? What should money be? And when earned income becomes insufficient to purchase the productive output, the gap has to be made up somewhere. And the way that it's being made up is in the form of pensions, welfare benefits, dividends, and consumer credit. This pushes government spending into deficit, and which can never be repaid. And the solution is a sovereign debt-free money, similar to the greenbacks that Abraham Lincoln so many years ago. The problem with creating all of this money as credit and through debt and paying interest on it is that it's destabilizing. It builds up and then it comes crashing back down. And these are the crashes that we get every once in a while. And again, the tool to prevent this is through sovereign money. It's normal for the money supply to grow. It doesn't have to be done, doesn't have to be borrowed to put more dollars in circulation. So once we recognize that the money supply needs to grow, this is the profit of the economy. The next question is, how should it be distributed? And one possible answer is through government spending, but a better answer is to give every citizen an equal share as a universal basic income. When Andrew Yang was running for president, this is what he called the freedom dividend, because the growth in the money supply is the dividend that should go to the people who make up America. So this legislative package establishes the American Union's jobs program, which specifically as the distribution method for these new dollars.
This MMT?
I would not describe this as MMT. MMT is modern monetary theory. And it's correct in recognizing that government has a responsibility to increase the amount of money in circulation. The people who assert that we should balance the budget are wrong. This is the Ross Perot fallacy. You go back and you watch his videos today, there's a point that he makes that jumps out as obviously incorrect. He said, $4 trillion, folks, and we got nothing to show for it. And so in hindsight, you want to ask, really? Like, how could America have borrowed $4 trillion and have nothing to show for it? Like, mean, of course, when we borrowed $4 trillion, of course, we'd gotten something in return. We'd spent that money into the economy. We got infrastructure, we got healthcare, we got employment for millions of people who then took their paychecks and spent them in other parts of the economy. And so this fallacy was easy to gloss over. Ross Perot got the people's attention and he seemed credible, but he was wrong. But his folksy populist message convinced millions and millions of people that we should balance the budget and that deficit spending was bad. And it just became a shared cultural assumption, as unquestionable as driving on the right side of the road. Nobody challenged it, nobody questioned him, and the Ross Perot fallacy got baked into the financial dogma of Washington. Balance the budget, pay as you go. So after Bill Clinton beat him for the presidency, President Clinton worked with the Republicans to eliminate the deficit. Of course, we need more money in circulation today. And the federal government got it there through deficit spending. It's Congress's constitutional responsibility to manage the money supply. But what they're not obligated to do is to borrow that money. Abraham Lincoln demonstrated this during the Civil War when the US Treasury issued greenbacks, legal tender backed by the United States. The national debt isn't supposed to be paid back. It stands at 30 trillion now, and we'd crush the economy if we tried to pay it off. And instead, we're paying hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars every year in interest for the privilege of keeping that $30 trillion in circulation. And that's money that should be better spent elsewhere. So under the blueprint for a better America, the US Treasury will begin putting digital greenbacks into circulation, and over time, they'll replace and pay down that $30 trillion debt. And it'll be financially better for all of us. Digital dollars means Treasury dollar bill balances consisting of digital ledger entries recorded as assets by the US Treasury. And this is important that they are recorded as assets versus liabilities. The sovereign money is denominated as assets. Digital Treasury accounts, I'll talk more about the pass-through accounts in some later sections. And Treasury dollar bill is defined as a zero interest Treasury bill with no expiration date, valued at precisely one Federal Reserve note.